What's up, guys? So tomorrow at 11 a.m. is 10 years, the 10-year anniversary, exactly on the dot of when I was hazed and assaulted as a freshman at South High at the 2013 state track and field meet. Let me set the scene for this, okay? This is when, in 2013, when Lathrop used to host the state track and field meet. Prior to 2014, Lathrop hosted, up in Fairbanks, hosted the state track and field meet. And after that, it was Diamond, right? Post 2013, it was Diamond, which was a lot easier for me and much better for me, right? And this was back when I was at South High, okay? So we knew it was going to be stormy in Fairbanks. We knew that year a wind and snow and rainstorm was supposed to hit Fairbanks. Actually, it was supposed to hit the majority of the state, except maybe like southeast, I think. Because I know Anchorage got snow. I remember like seeing photos my mom took of her yard and stuff. But we went up to Fairbanks for the state track and field meet. Okay, we flew on Raven Air, back when it was known as Era Aviation. Okay, and at least in 2013, when you fly Raven, you don't go through security, right? You go out the other way at ANC, at Ted Stevens International Airport in Anchorage, right? You go out the other way to get to the gates, and it's not like the tunnel thing, you know what I mean? You go out onto the tarmac and they have little stairs and you walk up the stairs onto the plane. And this figures importantly into the story. So we fly up to Fairbanks, and as we're waiting for the coaches to pick us up in the Suburbans, I noticed Josh Pudlo, a senior who was running the 200 and the 400 as well as both of our relays. And did we have a 4x4 that year? I don't think we had a 4x4. He was running the 200, the 400, and he was also running our relay. I was an alternate for the relay, for the 4x1, right? So I noticed him at the Fairbanks airport when we got to Fairbanks. We were waiting for the SUV to pick us up and take us to the hotel. The men's team was staying at the Wedgewood. The women's team was staying at Sophie Station. We were waiting on the curb at Fairbanks International, and I noticed Josh Pudlo brandishing a blade next to shot putter Tommy Hop, also a senior, right? And I thought, why has he got that on him? Why does he got that on him? And how did they let him through? Because again, we flew on Raven, so we didn't go through security like we would have if we had flown Alaska Airlines, right? Because we flew on Raven, you know what I mean, on Raven Air. So I noticed Josh Pudlo brandishing the blade at Tommy Hop as we were waiting to go to the Wedgewood Hotel, as we were waiting for the SUV to go to the Wedgewood. Okay? So we go to the Wedgewood, we drop our bags, right? And then we go get food from Safeway. I get a little sandwich or something. I don't even know, did the coaches cook us dinner that night? I don't even know if the coaches cooked us dinner. Either way, I know the coaches cooked us breakfast. I think Coach Rutherford, the discus coach, cooked us breakfast the next morning. So I slept on this little uncomfortable couch. Probably one of the worst nights of sleep I've ever had. And I've had some bad nights of sleep. I've experienced insomnia due to like ADHD, PTSD, and the other shit that I have, right? So I slept on this cramped up little couch in the living room because I was the relay alternate. There was 2 rooms inside of my room. Andrew West, hurdler. Roman Steffen was also on the relay. I don't think he made it in the 1, the 2, or the 4. But they had the beds in one room. And then Josh Pudlo and Brett Mormon. And Brett Mormon was in the 100, and I believe he was also on the relay. And Josh Pudlo was in the 2, the 4, and was also on the relay. They had the other room. Okay, and I don't know why John Lewis, who was the head coach and the shot put coach at the time, put me in the same room as those guys. Because I didn't get along with those guys. Just because, this is the 4x1 relay, got to keep those dudes together. I don't know why he put me with those guys. Because Roman's a bully. Andrew West is a clown and a bully. Pudlo, we all know about him, what he would go on to do the next day to me. Brett Mormon was a bully. I don't even know why. The only reason I went to South is because I grew up in South Anchorage, out in Rabbit Creek. So that's the situation, right? So I had terrible roommates those 2 nights, and I had to sleep on this tiny ass little couch. There might have been a fold out bed, I don't know, but all I know is I was cramped up sleeping on this tiny ass little couch. And I had a shitty night of sleep, terrible night of sleep, and I got up, and then we went because the Wedgewood's kind of like a motel, so the coaches were staying in a room across the parking lot. It was us, and then the next room over was Isaac Light, Wade Ellis, Griffin Toomey, and then Derek Steele and Quint Carroll and some other freshmen that were on the 4x8 relay. I don't even know who else was there. I don't pay attention to no distance runners. I'm sorry, I'm a sprinter. You know what I mean? We don't really care about distance runners. You know what I mean? So they were staying down on the first floor. And the coaches were staying across the parking lot from us in a different building. Still part of the Wedgewood, right? So we went over for eggs in the morning the next day, which was the day of prelims and some of the field events and the 30-200. But again, endurance event, distance event, who cares about that, right? I only care about short sprints. You know what I mean? So we went over to where the coaches were staying, had some food. We went back over. It was kind of rainy and snowy and gray that day. So everybody was staying inside their room unless they were going to do a prelim or do the long jump or the high jump or the shot put or whatever. That's kind of how it went. You know what I mean? And the coaches, either Eric Lohman or Nate Turner, would come in the Suburban or drive up in the Suburban, and you get in and you go to your event, right? So it was raining and snowing, and there was no snow on the ground. All the snow had melted. It was a late spring storm. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was raining and snowing a little bit, and it was disgusting conditions. I remember Mike Allsworth, so if you know YouTuber Selena Allsworth, that's her cousin who did long jump and triple jump at South. I remember Mike Allsworth scratched all his jumps in the long jump that day, because Friday was long jump, Saturday is triple. That's usually how things would work, right? Or how they work. I think they still work that way. So Mike Allsworth scratched all his jumps. I don't even know how Tommy Hop did in the shot put. I knew Mike Allsworth. I think he might have been on the relay too. Second leg of the relay. I don't know. I know that Roman, Josh, Brett, and maybe Andrew West. I think that's the relay. So I don't know. So Mike wasn't on the relay. But Mike Allsworth scratched all his long jumps. Derek Steele, I don't even know how he did in the 3200 that day. I don't know. I don't pay attention to no distance runners. I'm a sprinter, you know what I mean? I do short sprints, that's all. But Mike Allsworth scratched all his long jumps. That's what kind of day it was. Terrible conditions. And then so Josh Pudlo was gonna go get ready for his 400 prelim. It was like 11 a.m. ish, right? And I was gonna go, yo, tell the homie good luck, you know what I mean? Like, go tell the homie good luck, you know what I mean? Like, that's what you do, right? So, I went into Wade Ellis's room. Wade Ellis and Tommy Hop and Griffin Toomey's room, the seniors. I mean, in retrospect, the fact that Pudlo was with us and he wasn't with the other seniors, that should have been a red flag, you know what I mean? But, okay, that's beside the point. I went into the room where Griffin Toomey and Tommy Hop and Mike Allsworth and Wade Ellis were staying. Okay? I saw on the living room table in there, because the rooms at the Wedgewood have like kitchens and like living rooms. It's like extended stay, whatever that extended stay hotel is. Like the one where everyone in Cordova go to when they come into town, into Anchorage. Like kind of like that, right? That's how the Wedgewood's set up. So there was a living room in the room. It's like these suites, but they're not like fancy suites. They're like motel suites. You know what I mean? So on the living room table, there was the mirror. There was glass. There was a sheet of glass, which looked like the mirror. It looked like someone had taken the mirror out of the bathroom. And there was a white substance that looked like cocaine on the mirror. And being the sober dude, I'm like, yo, I really ain't about that life. So I went back up to my room, right? Across the hallway to my room, right? Pudlo said, dude, everybody's doing it. And I was like, nah, bro, I ain't about this. I really ain't about this life. You know what I mean? And I went across the hall to my room. Pudlo said that he had a piece on him and he was going to go get that piece. Now, I had seen him brandish the blade at Tommy Hop the previous day. And that scared the shit out of me. You know, I was like, oh shit, this might be it for me. So I was all cowering in the corner of my room. And Pudlo's like, come on, bro, you got to do it. And it looked like he was pointing a weapon at me. It looked like that. And I was inching towards the balcony. I didn't have no shoes on. It was snowing and raining out there. Mind you, I was a 15-year-old freshman. I had just gotten my first ever cell phone, which was like a dumb phone. It was like those little GCI slide phones. Now, mind you, I was inching closer and closer towards the balcony, because there was a balcony on our side. Aside from the internal entrance, like, yo, I might have to climb out this balcony. You know what I mean? And Pudlo could see I was scared. And I probably should have gone out on the balcony. And then closed the door behind me and whatnot. But I might have been locked out. And it was cold. And it was going to snow that night, right? In May, in Fairbanks, Alaska. So then when Josh Pudlo knew I was like thoroughly petrified, like he took his right hand out of the pocket of his warm-up jacket, because we had those Brooks warm-up jackets. This is back when we had those Brooks warm-up jackets. Like back in 2013, like we had terrible uniforms, warm-up jackets, all that, you know. And he took his fingers out. It's like, bro, it's only my fingers. And I'm like, yo, that's not cool. Like, you hella scared me. And he's like, yo, don't tell Coach Walt. Coach Walt's the sprints coach. Corrupt guy. You know what I mean? He's like, don't tell Coach Walt. And that shit petrified me. So then I didn't say nothing about it for quite a while. And so I went about the day like nothing had happened. You know, we went back over, I think we had pasta and gravy over in coach's room, where like most of the coaches were at. Walt Harmon, Trevor Millar, Nate Turner and his wife were staying down at Sophie Station with the women's team, because there was no woman coaches. This was before Shasta Miller was there. Okay. So Nate Turner was down at Sophie Station, but like Eric Lohman, Tom Grenier, Coach Rutherford, John Lewis, the usual suspects when you think about South High track and field from that era. You know what I mean? They were staying in the room across the parking lot. And I mean, this is the same day I learned that Justin Moore was on gear, and I believe Griffin Toomey was on gear as well, and had little roid rage. Because, and this is what I know from Wade Ellis, okay? So don't blame me for repeating what Wade Ellis told me, okay? But like Griffin had long hair at the time, and I think the women's team might have come over because Melanie Bartenstein was there, and she braided his hair up for him, right? And he's kind of this preppy Irish dude from Bear Valley, right? Griffin's this preppy Irish dude from Bear Valley. Like, he's not... So, if you get the, you know what I mean? You get the picture. But then Isaac, like, snapped a photo of Griffin with his hair braided up, and he got hella pissed at him, like, raged out back to his room and shit. Now, Isaac Light's a problem. That guy's a problem. You know what I mean? So, later that night, we had gone over back to our side, our rooms and stuff, to go to bed because finals were tomorrow. Triple jump was tomorrow, the 18th. The triple jump, the discus, all like the finals for the 1, the 2, the 4, the 110 hurdles, the 300 hurdles. They sadly don't have 400 hurdles at the high school level. So we went back across the parking lot to our rooms, right? And the relay was tomorrow, the 4x1. I believe that year that was the only relay we qualified. And I will check athletic.net when I'm done with this video to clarify, okay? So we went back across the parking lot to our rooms. And then Griffin threw another temper tantrum at Isaac. And the little distance runners downstairs that, again, I don't care about no distance runners, right? The little distance runners downstairs came out their room like, yo, what's up with this dude? You know what I mean? They didn't say it like that because they're a little bit nerdy. And they're like, well, not a little bit nerdy. They're hella nerdy. You know what I mean? They're from the south side, so they're like hella sheltered and stuff. Maybe Trevor Sprague was there on the 4x8 because it would be Isaac Light, Derek Steele, Quinn Carroll, Trevor Sprague. I think that was our 4x8 relay. Wow, I can name 4 distance runners. That's pretty good because I usually don't care about no distance runners. You know what I mean? They're kind of losers, you know. Endurance athletes in general are a little bit crazy, but you know what I mean? So, and then as I was getting to go to my bed, to go to my uncomfortable ass couch that I was sleeping on, Isaac Light came up to me out of nowhere and like dry humped me on my right hip, like assaulted me basically. And he's like, "Ha, I know you're gay," or some shit like that. So so I kept quiet about those two things, for the rest of summer, like the entire summer. And I was hella depressed that summer. Like on Citas, I was hella depressed that summer. And then I told my moms, and I told my moms what had happened, okay? And she's like, "Damn, you were hazed." I was like, "Oh shit." And that had been building up. There's a culture of bullying on the south side of Anchorage. Like Roman Stephan had pushed me up in the lockers and like hit me with a banana peel and shit, and some other shit. Like Brett Mormon did some shit to me. He's a bully too. Like he would try to like run at me when I was like doing dynamic warm-ups and shit, like trying to get ready for training and shit. Like so there's a clear culture of bullying on the south side of Anchorage, and it's why that's one of the worst places to live in Alaska. So what else? And like I have a theory. I have a theory about why they hazed me. Because the hurdles coach at the time, Trevor Millar, was the director of a Protestant cult called Young Life that had infiltrated the Anchorage School District, which is public school. South Anchorage High is a public school. It is funded by taxpayer dollars. He had no business being up in there, right? He had no business being up in there. And obviously 2013 was a summer he had his like jet skiing or inner tubing accident, whatever. So I believe that he told Josh Pudlo to haze me. Why? Josh Pudlo was involved in Young Life. Josh Pudlo was one of the ringleaders of Young Life, along with Hannah Markwood, who grew up in the same neighborhood as me, Rabbit Creek, and whose mom worked at Simon and Seifert's with my mom, okay? And along with Caitlin Sweeney, the daughter of former Assistant Interior Secretary under Trump, Tara Sweeney, whose dad is like involved with like BBNC, and has ties to BlackRock, and whose mom was the former president of ASRC, and whose younger brother Amau was in The Big Miracle, along with my buddy Boyack Chase and my buddy Lauren Holmes. So I believe that Josh Pudlo was under orders from Trevor Millar to haze me, to keep me quiet. Okay, now in August 2013, that's when we reported it to the administration at South High. And it sounds as if the administration of South High and the district attorney for Anchorage let Josh Pudlo off the hook. And I will be subpoenaing, I'll try to use the freedom, because everybody involved now is like over 18. Everybody's in their like mid to late 20s now. So I will try to subpoena if I'm able to, or go Freedom of Information Act on Kirsten Strumpler Johnson, who was at the time principal of South High, and then Kevin Theonis was the assistant principal, and Melanie Sugita and Tom Ritchie were the athletic directors. So, and again, I'm probably going to file a suit against the son of Melanie Sugita, Skylar Sugita, for defamation of character, because he told me that I was making shit up when I released a video several years ago about the situation. So I think I'll do that. And I think I'll also sue Pudlo for personal injury as well. So, furthermore, and I'm going to sue Light. I'm going to sue Isaac Light for assaulting me as well. But yeah, so that situation was not dealt with properly. I believe that Strumpler Johnson and Theonis, and was it Patrick Henry who was the activities principal, or was it Kern McGinley? Either one of those two swept it under the rug and let the perpetrators and the bystanders, who were basically egging Pudlo on and did nothing about it, just were spectating. And they should have jumped in to support me. I think the South High administration let the perpetrators off the hook, because immediately after that summer, Pudlo fled to Kapa'a on the island of Kauai in Hawaii, right? Isaac Light went on his Mormon mission in Brazil, okay? I don't know if he went to Rio de Janeiro or São Paulo, but he went to Brazil. And I believe Brett Mormon, Roman Steffen, and Andrew West were suspended 1 game each, but I don't think that's harsh enough a punishment, given the ramifications of that situation and the fact that that was a dangerous those were two dangerous situations I was in. I'm also this ties in to the pattern of the fact that I stayed at South High for an additional 2 years instead of transferring to East High or West High, or moving down to Seattle and going to either like Garfield or Rainier Beach or Franklin or Nathan Hale. That is the pattern of behavior that correlates with neglect by my parents and psychological abuse by my parents. So I'll be asking for a little bit of a payout from them as well. But the fact that it was swept under the rug, I didn't get enough support from my parents. They didn't go to the media. They didn't go to the media. My mom doesn't know shit about social media. She doesn't know shit about doing a press release. Like my mom's like a Neanderthal, okay? But she's an endurance athlete. And again, she's an endurance athlete, so she's a little crazy in the head, you know what I mean? On certain things. Like she just doesn't have good insights, you know, and she wasn't really a good parent, you know. And my dad, you know, typical situation, angry drunk, commercial fisherman. So he's dishonest too. He's a little bit dishonest with me too. So it's like I couldn't rely on my parents. And then my grandparents, like my grandma was like, this was like 2 years before she got Alzheimer's and stuff. So she was already going downhill a little bit. So my grandpa had to take care of her. And this was 2 years before she had the back procedure that really like escalated her Alzheimer's and stuff. So my uncle and auntie were kind of taking care of her. My mom's other brother is psychologically abusive, and his son is psychologically abusive, or was psychologically abusive to me. So I was really on my own there. I mean, my mom's neighbor helped out, and she did just as much as my parents did. My mom's neighbor had taught at South for several years, and, you know, she helped support me and stuff, but my parents clearly didn't do enough. And the fact that they kept me at South High for 2 more years, and then they shipped me off to boarding school, where I was assaulted 3 times, and I was sexually harassed once more. Yeah, because the James Cameron Jarvis incident, the Taiga Murata and Eru Haneda incident, that's 2, and then the Tommy Balboa incident, and the fact and the track and field coach there at the boarding school I went to sucked, and he did not know how to train sprinters. He could not put together a good off-season training program, so my performances suffered. And then I redid my junior year there, so I wasn't eligible when I did a senior year at Diamond to run track and field. And then I just mentally, when I got to college, I just couldn't take it, and I just ended up dropping out of college. And what I should have done after my first semester at Willamette was transfer to a junior college, like City College of San Francisco or something, and just gone there, and then try to transfer to like Seattle U or like University of San Francisco or something. Not Portland State. Fuck Portland. Fuck Oregon. It's a grungy shithole. But no, I that's what I should have done. Is I should have done 2 years at CCSF or at Chabot, and which is in Oakland. Ran track and field there, and then tried to transfer to Seattle U or to USF, which is University of San Francisco. There's no way I'd go to University of Portland. That's all distance up there. I hate distance. I hate endurance athletes. You know me. But yeah, that's the story of what went down 10 years ago in Fairbanks. And how I survived a hazing incident. I survived a fear assault. Because I knew that the previous day I had seen with my own 2 eyes that Pudlo had a blade on him and that he was brandishing it at Tommy Hop. So I survived 2 assaults and 1 hazing incident that very day. And again, I should never have stayed at South High for 2 more years. I never should have done that. I feel like it was neglectful and criminally negligent for my parents to keep me there. I either should have transferred across town and either went to East or West and moved in with my uncle, or I should have moved down to Seattle. My dad should have moved down to Seattle, or I could have. At this point, my dad's mom had been diagnosed with cancer, so I would have had to move down to Seattle and live with her. And my dad would also have had to move down because he would have had to take care of her that time. And I should have gone to either Garfield, Rainier Beach, or Franklin, down in Seattle there. Because Because there's no way I'd be going to Lakeside. Hell no, I suck at math. And you have to be good at math to go to Lakeside, like my dad and my dad's brothers and my dad's niece and nephew did. So that's what should have happened. And it's criminally negligent that Alaska's so quote-unquote strongest woman tried to sabotage my sports career by sending me to, to a shitty boarding school, shitty elitist boarding school in Massachusetts, and the fact that she kept me 2 additional years at South High is criminally negligent and quite frankly neglectful of her to do that. So I will be doing a press release on that tomorrow, and I will be releasing... And Pudlo actually released a statement last year about the situation when I confronted him on social media about that. So we'll be reading that tomorrow. But I'm right here right now charging my phone, so I thought I'd make this video. So there you go. So yeah, peace.